Tyler Warren is the belle of the ball in this year's NFL draft at the tight end position, but is he going to be the belle of the ball in your rookie drafts? I'm joined by the fantastic Ali Cook. You will know him as at FF Dynasty Grill to break down Tyler Warren and his prospects for fantasy. So, Ali, as we dive into Warren, as you can see, 6'5.5", 256 pound, prototypical size. Is that the most appealing thing for you with Warren as a prospect?
Yeah, size, obviously, I think he's got the whole package, to be honest. Definitely like a Swiss Army knife when, you're sort of looking for that edge in fantasy at the tight end position. It's gone rather stale recently with the tight end landscape. I feel like he could come in and bring something else. When you scout him, is he a big tight end? Is he a wide receiver the way he moves? Is he a running back? Some of the snaps he takes in the backfield. Is he a wildcat quarterback? Because obviously he's done that before very successfully. He's my tight end one. I do have him in the same tier as Colston Loveland, but two very different tight end prospects. The difference, and for me, is why I put Tyler Warren number one, was just I think that he has the highest probability to hit day one, like produce from day one. Whereas I think with Loveland, it might take a bit of a slower trajectory upwards. Perhaps it might have a higher ceiling than Tyler Warren. But yeah, 22 years old, will be 23 next month, which is older than Brock Bowers. I looked. Do I find that a problem? I don't really, obviously, with the tight end position being they sort of go on a bit longer. The biggest question for me is, why did it take almost 5 years in college to break out? That was the big question, from going from not a great prospect to the tight end one of the class. Had me look into it, and it was actually interesting. His background when he came into Penn State, he was more of a basketball player, and that was the reason that he was recruited to Penn State. A lefty quarterback in high school as well. Found that interesting, and obviously shows on the film. And then he sat behind the likes of Brenton Strange, not great tight ends, but I mean Brenton Strange drafted round 2, Theo Johnson round 4 prospect. Obviously, then it clicked in 2024. So just the bonkers season in 2024. 50% of Tyler Warren's targets went for either a first down or a touchdown, which is ridiculous. He was 58 receptions ahead of the best wide receiver on the team. So just an insane season. I think that his versatility stands out as well, where you can play him in line. Almost 50% of the time he was in the slot, but also in the backfield. It just excites me about what he could become in the NFL. And obviously you look at NFL draft media, the top guys. Daniel Jeremiah's got him as a top 5, top 6 prospect. It is incredibly exciting. The only question to me is, at what cost does it come in rookie drafts? That's going to be the big question of whether I take much Tyler Warren or not.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely a fascinating prospect, certainly intriguing. If you want more of my opinions, all the analytics you can need and all the film takeaways, you can hit the join button down below, get a copy of our rookie guide, silver, gold tier and above, get that free copy when it drops a week after the NFL draft. Now, I feel like I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here. I don't know if I have ever seen a prospect that I've disagreed with more than the wider kind of NFL draft community. I get what they see from Tyler Warren this year. Like, he had a phenomenal year, as you said, over 100 receptions, 1,200 yards. He was fantastic. He was 4 years older than most of the players that he was playing against. Like, this is a guy who couldn't get Brenton Strange and Theo Johnson off the field, as you said. Like, yes, I get he is a great athlete, but he has got real fundamental technique concerns. And this isn't a guy that's coming in as a 20-year-old prospect that we can take some time, we can train him up. Like, everybody keeps telling me he's a Y, he can line up in line, he can win blocking. I think people are taking size for blocking, like, competence. He's big, he's willing, but his fundamental technique, his hand placement, his weight balance is really poor. And I think that, to me, he is more of a project in the run game than a lot of the other tight ends in this class. Yet we're talking about him as a difference-making, potentially run blocker. You then get to the movement skills and kind of as a wide receiver. And I think yes, he is a phenomenal athlete. I think he moves well. He is smooth. But again, this is a guy that you can tell hasn't played much wide receiver, hasn't played much tight end, because he doesn't have the fundamentals of route running. He doesn't understand how to stack and stem defenders. He doesn't have the natural release package to get off the line. It's like, I see the potential with Tyler Warren. But for me, I see the potential of him as a second round pick in rookie drafts. And then you look at the cost and it's like, I'm going to have to spend a top 6 pick to go and get this guy. I think he's a really solid prospect, but I can't get my head around how we can talk about him as a potential top 10 pick in the NFL draft and a potential top 6 pick in Superflex tight end premium leagues. Like, that's just absolutely wild to me. This is a deep tight end class, and I would much rather, if you're saying to me I have to draft a tight end, let me trade back around and pick one of the plethora of guys that's going to be available in the second round and pick up extra draft capital, because I think that Tyler Warren has way too many flaws in his game, in his production profile, for me to be like, this is a really great prospect.
Yeah, he scares the life out of me when he's mocked to as high as pick 5 to the Jags. You see the Indianapolis Colts landing spot, and it scares the hell out of me. I think that would be awful for Tyler Warren, but I think it could happen. I just think he's definitely got a bigger bust rate than Colston Loveland. He's far more landing spot dependent, as for someone to be able to hit their ceiling, should I say. I think that immediate production will come, but to hit his absolute ceiling and to pay off what you're going to have to pay in rookie drafts, I think he has to be landing in the right offensive scheme.
Colston Loveland, the ever reliable producer for Michigan, won a national title last year, coming out in the draft this year, 6'6", 245 pounds, a smooth operator, a natural separator. Ali, are you a Loveland lover, or do you feel like he's getting overhyped and going to be too expensive in rookie drafts?
I kind of feel the opposite, to be honest. I feel like he's not getting enough love, whereas everybody seems to be talking about Tyler Warren as someone that is a higher ceiling. They're the guy. He's the one that I always see drafted first ahead of Colston Loveland. But Colston Loveland to me is more of that prototypical tight end. I think he has got elite upside. Whether or not he gets there in year one, like a Brock Bowers, like a Sam Laporta, we've been really gifted the last couple of years. But I certainly think he's got a lower bust rate than Tyler Warren. But I think he's got a higher ceiling than Tyler Warren. As you mentioned, he's absolute fluent route runner. Really looks like a big wide receiver out there. Shouldn't be able to move the way that he does. And, Michigan obviously thanked him for it, because he was the absolute focus of that passing game in 2024, which was terrible. Wide receiver play was bad. Quarterback play was bad. He frequently was able to find that soft spot of the defense. I think that will translate to the NFL really well. Huge catch radius, almost 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands. His arms are over an inch bigger than Tyler Warren. He was just able to pull off catches where it didn't seem possible either. Really gets himself up to speed quickly, vertical up the seam. He's got that yak ability, the change of directions, impressive. A stat that's pretty odd to me is only 3 missed tackles forced, which it doesn't really seem much compared to the tight end position, but it is something there. But when you look at stats like yards per route run, 2.39 is really lovely. Obviously led the team in receptions and touchdowns. The blocking's fine. I think he can work on that in the NFL. I think that's overblown. This guy, I think he's not getting enough love when you compare him to Tyler Warren.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like Loveland. I think that, he's a move tight end. Let's call him what he is. I don't think this is a guy that's going to be able to line up, 30, 40 times as an inline blocker and kind of win one-on-one. But I think he walks into the NFL as an above average move tight end. I think he can be a really nice sort of second, third weapon in a receiving game. But I think he's got much more upside than that. I think he can add functional strength. I think that's where he's lacking in the kind of the run game. It's not technique. It's not willingness. I think it's just he's still building into his frame. 6'6", 245. It's like, yeah, that 245 is all right, but he's a bigger frame guy at 6'6". So I think he needs to add functional strength. And I think that will allow him to be potentially that plus in the run game. Before we dive into the stats, though, if you are finding this for the first time, hit that subscribe button. We are previewing every single fantasy relevant player you need to know for your rookie drafts, and you will not want to miss them. As we dive across to the stats, as you can see, no kind of huge blow up season, like a Tyler Warren in the last year, but just as I said at the top, consistent, reliable performer, over 500 yards the last 2 years, over 40 catches each of those years. Do you feel like he has the potential ceiling to be, a potential top 6 fantasy tight end over the next kind of 3 to 5 years? Or do you think this is a guy that's going to be that back end tight end 1 as his kind of potential upside?
No, I definitely do see it as an outcome. His ceiling is top 6, absolutely, for me. He's an incredibly young tight end compared to Tyler Warren, who's got 2 or 3 years ahead of him. He's got all the functional skills that you would like. I think that perhaps the projection won't be that he'll smash it in year 1, but certainly year 2, 3 onwards, perhaps more of a Trey McBride route. I think absolutely that's in the range of outcomes. It's just us dynasty managers, we're not very patient when it comes to the tight end, especially when you look at the last couple of years being blessed at what we have been. It would be interesting to see if he doesn't quite hit it year 1, what happens to his value. But absolutely, he's neck and neck there with Tyler Warren for me in terms of could either be both be a top 5 dynasty tight end come the end of the season.